besides Congressman Loeb? Okay. I'll shut it off. I'm on it. Won't even charge you extra.
I need to get the media.
Yeah, I don't care. It's just, I was throwing a jab at Chief about Matt Meyer parking across the street. Half of his car.
He's
Tried to do it once, yeah.
Yeah, it's the national.
Which means he's a happy.
What? That's not what that is. He is learning.
But you are not learning.
He's
Oh,
learning.
what?
What's that?
No, you're
I
good.
knew it.
No,
You're fostering relationships.
yeah. Nobody can take it. I learned my lesson on Walrus. Pretty hurt. For a while.
Hang on, is that? Vibes or something, like something. Yeah. Yeah. And the sign.
You got that right. We're good.
I'd like to officially call this first meeting of the Mount Vernon City Council for the month of October to order. And the first item on the agenda is to approve the agenda. And are there any changes?
Any changes?
No, I'm sorry.
In that case, I move approval of the agenda as presented.
Second. Moved and seconded to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
I.
Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda's on. Craig is in Scotland, or Craig is out of the country, and I don't think Deb, anybody on?
Haven't seen anybody yet.
And Chris is at a national convention in Texas. So this is who we have tonight. Next item is the communications. If you wish to address the city council on subjects pertaining to today's meeting agenda, please wait until that item on the agenda appears. And if you want to address the council on an item not on the agenda, please approach the microphone and give your name and address for the public record and discuss your item. And now officially we'll have the public comment section open. Is there anyone here to speak to the public comment section? Hearing no one, I think I'm going to move on and go on to consent agenda. We've got 6 items for consent agenda. Number 6 is probably the toughest one, but are we can move forward with this consent agenda?
I move approval of the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you, Paul.
Second.
Second by staff. Moving and second to approve the consent agenda. All in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We've got one resolution, and that's for accepting the work of the project known as Candlestick Drive Northeast. Boomerang. Waiting for the grass to grow.
I know, I was gonna say, I don't really think to ask this. So this one's gonna be in conjunction with J4 and J5. And that's just gonna be the final pay app and retainage amount. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to.
Drove it some time ago, saw it was done.
Yeah, that's fine, that looks nice. Yeah, that's, did a good job.
I would move approval of resolution 10-2-2023A.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Scott. It's moved and seconded to move forward with this resolution for approval, and that is a roll call vote. If you are ready.
West? Yes. Turler?
Yes.
Rose?
Yes.
Okay, well, that resolution passes. Should we take the motions in the order, or do we want to go to 4 and 5?
That's completely up to you. If you want to do them 4 and 5. So for 4, the discussion and consideration of approving the final pay app. That final pay app was $156,193.30. And then for discussion and consideration to release retainage, which was $8,220.70. Nothing to add.
Get the retainage out quick. Sometimes that lingers for months.
Yeah.
They might-
After the 30-day waiting period.
Yeah, we have got that.
Yep.
Let's do J4.
I do have a question. On the agenda, the amount is 164,414.
That's the total. If you,
Okay.
if you split those two amounts, that's your final
Okay.
pay up and your
I see
retainage
it.
is 164, yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
Gotcha.
good question.
all right, given that, I will move to approve the final pay application for Candlestick Drive in the amount of $164,414.
Thank you, Steph. Is there a second?
I will second.
Thank you. Scott. Moved and seconded to move forward on J4. If there are no other questions, nothing to add, that's a voice vote. All in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? J4 passes. J5. Retainage, I think Gloria's already explained it all. Any, ready to make a motion on that?
I'd move approval of the retainage release for the Candlestick Drive Northeast improvements in the amount of $8,220.70.
Thank you, Scott. Is there a second?
Second?
And Steph. What's the retainage percentage? 10%, 8%?
5%.
5%, okay, thank you. Motion to approve J5, if you're ready to vote on that, all in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Go back to J1, consideration of claims list, sent out this afternoon by Marcia. Any questions? Anything to pull off of that?
There was an explanation of the fraud charge, at least that it's being researched. I'm glad to see that, and I just assume that you guys will fill us in.
Apologies. Doug, Deb says she's waiting in the Zoom room.
I don't see.
Thanks for
I got nobody.
She's in the wrong room.
Okay.
Might be in the wrong Zoom.
Yeah.
I've done that.
While you're working on it, Doug, chances of getting recovery on that? On her question?
That's more of a bank issue that Lori might know more.
We're working on an insurance side of things to see if we can recover it.
Well,
Keep you updated.
threshold for, yeah, thank you.
Yes, we'll keep you updated.
Barring that,
Yeah, given that, I will move to approve the claims list.
thank you. Is there a second? Paul, seconded. Motion on the floor to approve the claims list. All in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Any luck with that?
I just sent her the link that I got from Lori for this meeting, so.
Okay.
Change order number 1 on Davis Park ball field lighting.
Yeah, so they're requesting to modify from a 480 volt three-phase to a 240 volt single-phase. This is because they can't get, it's like about a year wait, kind of similar to like what the LVC was to get the solar going. It was about a year wait for that. So if we downsize, it's a pretty quick turnaround.
Engineer obviously spec.
Yes.
The original.
Yes, it is sufficient, yes.
They're okay with that? The
Yes.
engineer knows about it? Okay.
Yep.
$0.
Does that allow us the ability if later we feel like we need?
I asked that question too, and our city engineer said that yes, it does. Now, to what extent, I am uncertain, but that was my same concern.
I can't help but then ask why we went for 480 on the front first time around, if 240 would have handled it. I mean, I'm not
I know.
against overbuilding in case we need.
But there was
You
no
know.
cost difference to do that, so.
Oh, all right,
they
if
went
that was, if they had already considered that, then.
Yeah, they did.
The
There's-
change
there's no
orders
cost
is even
difference.
change orders.
Right. It's just,
You always, it's like when we did Stony Brook, they paid for a 10-inch sanitary sewer line, and then the city paid to go 12, because, just because 10-inch was required,
Sure.
we wanted to go for larger capacity, anticipating future builds to the west.
Sure. In this scenario, though, we're going the other way, and it's not costing us anything.
I asked the same question, and there was no price difference on it, because the equipment, everything is still the same that was going into it.
Right, I guess, but, and I'm not concerned about the cost. I guess my question is more to the point of, if 240 would have handled it, why were we doing 480 to begin with? And if they did in fact look at it and go, well, 240 would cost X and 480 would also cost X, then let's do 480.
Right.
But now it's a a distribution issue, and here we are, then that's one thing.
Yeah,
So I
Well,
guess
it's
that's.
a timing
and
issue.
that's exactly what it comes down to.
Yeah, if we don't do it now at the 240, we don't have lights at the diamond.
Right, and I'm not, yeah, okay.
I understand your question, Scott, and Dave assured me that this doesn't affect how those lights go. I don't know why they would have quoted 480 and then all of a sudden changed, I mean, other than timing, to change it
Right.
to 40, but he assured me that it doesn't affect any futuristic changes that we might need to upgrade to.
Gotcha.
I think we all had the same concern and question, so
Yeah.
it's a good question.
All right, since we have noted those issues and time is of essence, I move to approve Davis Park ball field lighting change order number 1, net of $0.
Thank you, Steph. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Paul. Timing's still okay? I was thinking this was gonna be done in this calendar year.
As far as I know, it's still this fall, Matt. right?
Yeah,
But I mean,
it's
they haven't
still-
said any different, so fingers crossed.
For the lights and
Yeah.
everything, or just, are we talking about the lights now?
Just
We're
lights.
just, we're just talking lights, yeah,
Just like, yeah,
And let's-
this fall,
Yeah.
still this fall.
yeah.
Great.
It's moved and seconded to move forward and change order number 1 of the Davis Park ball field lighting project. If there are no other questions, all in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion consideration of Power Street for Public Works. Council action is needed.
Yeah, so staff would like to purchase a Power Street tool to complete the concrete floors at the new Public Works building on Bryant Road. I'll probably hand this over to Eldon because he has more knowledge on this than I do. There's a
Yeah.
couple things in your packet kind of showing what it is.
There's a lot of different variables, but we could make this investment. It will, number one, it'll help us internally, in-house, pour those floors out at the new cold storage building. But we can also use it on future street pavement patches. And I can get bigger patches done a lot easier with less staff. These things last forever if you take care of them. They're just a tool, so the one that I quoted out, actually I quoted both the steel and the aluminum. The aluminum is a lot lighter, easier to switch out. They're hydraulically ran, so yeah.
You got more use for just that one project?
Yes, yes,
Strictly
and we
around-
can continue to use this for, every summer for street patching, and we have the ability to add on to this. It's interchangeable lengths. If we get the 25-footer now, that'll suffice for getting the floors poured. If we decide we want to get a bigger patch poured, that we want to do it on our own, we have the ability to purchase extensions for this machine or tool.
And the thing is, the amount that we would pay to have a contractor come in and do this versus having Public Works and have this tool, it's more going to pay. I mean, it's more going to
Well,
give them.
if I'm understanding this right, Eldon, the Star Equipment quote says rental is $96.55.
I forgot to bring my paperwork.
And the new one is $11,055, so we're only talking $140?
I know there was,
$1,400, sorry.
yeah, I know there was a difference, so,
I mean, to me,
the one
that's
Star
about-
quoted us, I think he had the cheaper price for it's so it's used, it's the rental, but I can get the same thing brand new from, Carroll Distributing, which is in Marion as well, for not a lot more, for, I thought that was, so this was just the rental. I emailed Chris the price differences. And so this is just a quote from Star, but.
So, just to be clear, the way I understand this is, if we want to buy a used unit that they've rented out previously,
Yeah,
it's $96.55.
yeah,
Okay.
If we buy a brand new unit, it's $11,055.
That makes more sense.
yes, and it's what was a 3 week lead time, 3 to 4 week lead time on the new one. Obviously, they have the used one there, but like I said, it was like a $300 difference, I think, in the, between Carroll Distributing and Star on a brand new one, and they have theirs in stock. They have it there now,
So then are you asking for a not to exceed motion?
Not to exceed, is it $300 more?
I would say yes, that we are not going to exceed.
Not to exceed 11.5?
Let's say, yeah, not to exceed 12,
Not to
just to be
exceed
safe.
12,000?
Well, if you're saying it's 300 more, and the total by the time freight is included is 11,880, maybe we do 12,500 just to give you some.
Well, the one with Carroll is, there's no freight, because it's there,
Okay.
but,
Gotcha.
yeah.
So you think 12,000 even is enough?
Yes, yes.
All right, given that, I will make a motion to approve the purchase of a power screed for Public Works at an amount not to exceed $12,000.
Thank you,
I'll
Steph.
second.
And second to here. Do you think that's, once you get it here, you think that'll get that done this calendar year too, or? is that
Yeah,
forward?
we have a lot of things, obviously fall gets busy, with shutting down all the water in the parks and leaf pickup and cemetery cleanup and, we're still doing brush pickup and that sort of thing. It'll be busy, but, we can get things graded out. We can get the subgrade ready for that out there, get form set, get everything ready to go while that other stuff is going on. And yes, my goal would be to at least get the south cold storage building poured before it freezes. And then we have a place to put all of our stuff that we've
Got it.
been needing to get out of the old fire station and possibly PD.
So south building, yep, this year.
Yeah, yeah.
Good. Any other questions about timing or anything else here? Ready to move forward on that project with the vote. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We've already done J4 and 5. J6, consideration to approve the request for funding from the Historic Preservation Commission for 24-25. Council action as needed.
Yeah, the HPC is requesting city funds to assist with updating the historic preservation design guidelines. Obviously, our budget for this fiscal year is kind of set, so this would be reviewed in fiscal year 24-25 for the consideration if that funding is available. We'll have to see where we are when we get there.
All right, do you have a proposal for where the funds would come from, or the allocation would?
That's what we're gonna review as we do, because I don't know. I talked to Chris about that, and I'm uncertain at this point, so that'll be part of our review. I know the HPC is here. I don't know if you want to add anything. I know that you guys mentioned wanting to start that January of 2024, but, our budget is set for this year, so it would be something after July 1 of 2024.
So if we had commitment for next year, though.
Why don't you come to the mic, please?
Push
Do
the-
you want to answer that question?
Doesn't matter, there's nobody on.
Sorry. Two other people were going to represent us, but I jumped in. What we would like to do is have.
Could you give us an intro first? Just
Oh,
so we
sure.
can-
Name and address.
Sure, so
Of you.
of me.
Yes.
Name and address,
Thank
yes.
you for that clarification. I'm Sue Astley. I am chair of the Mount Vernon Historic Preservation Commission. I live in the Ash Park Historic District. Thank you. I don't come here often enough. And I assume this is on, it has a red light. We would like to issue a request for proposals in January, but not expend the money until next fiscal year. So if we don't start until July, that's going to put everything back that much further. So if we knew we had a commitment for funding, we could issue a request for proposals in January and potentially maybe sign a contract with somebody so they could begin in July instead of waiting till then to start with the whole process. So we wouldn't plan to start in January.
Right, but you would need the funding.
We need a commitment to funding. It would be unethical to issue a request for proposals if funding weren't
Right.
assured. So we would want to make sure we had that in place
Right.
before we would issue the RFP.
Yeah, and unfortunately, right now, we just can't, we can't secure that funding or make that commitment, not knowing what our budget will be and what that's gonna look like.
Okay,
So, have to wait.
yeah. Chris suggested that we make this request, but
Yeah, I think what
Right.
we can do is because, you know, as part of this motion, the request would be subject to review. So this feels like the question before us is really, as a council, if the funding is available,
Correct.
are
Would
we
support it?
behind
Correct. Yes.
expending the funds? And I think, given the importance of the historic districts in town, not only the residential, but with Main Street and Cornell, and the time that has passed since this was undertaken last, I would be in favor of, if we, again, have the funding and can find it, to support this endeavor.
Yeah, I would as well. I feel like you guys did a lot of very hard work, and your jobs would have been made easier if we had done this sooner.
So, just to be clear, I understand. So when we finalize the budget for 2024 in March, we would be able to.
This is what we're going to do this, yes.
We would be able to review, and if the money's there, we could commit. So you would be able to go out for RFPs if we're able to do that,
Right.
which I agree, it would be better to start sooner rather than later. So I want to make sure that we
Yes.
are all together on that timeline.
Yep.
I wish we could approve it today,
Right.
because I believe you're absolutely doing the right thing. And so with that, I would move approval that this request be reviewed during the budget process for RFP up to $16,000 for updating and expanding the existing historic preservation design guidelines.
I will potentially second, but a point of clarification. Sue, I believe you mentioned 24,000? And in the paperwork, it's 16,000.
No, 16.
Okay, all right.
16.
Okay. In that case, then I would second.
Marcia, did you catch all the motion? Okay, good. That-
I tried to talk as slow as I could.
She was scribbling away.
That's why I say as presented. She can copy paste.
Well, I wanted to make sure
Yeah, no, with
it
something like this.
followed all of
yep.
our logic,
100%.
Thanks for making the motion.
which it's not always good to follow my logic, but I thought I said it.
On occasion, on occasion.
Thank you, by the way, very much.
Doug's trying to get in?
Deb's in there.
No.
We got Deb?
Got a motion on the floor.
Her phone
to
number.
Move forward with the parameters Paul mentioned.
Yeah, we had her.
J6. We're ready to vote on the motion, and if Deb is there.
She's gone.
She's gone again. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. While we're in the area of historic preservation, I need to comment to council and public that literally in the last 2-3 weeks, I've had 3 instances of historic preservation items come to me. The first one was a gentleman, Pensacola, Florida, has glass negatives, and Deb Herman's husband, I think, is assisting Sue on
Yeah.
trying to get them back to Iowa, and are they of historical significance, and are they of Mount Vernon? So there's a hole in glass negative. My first said, just put them in the mail, we'll pay that extra.
Sure.
Glass negatives are, that's a way different scope. So that question came in, and then there was a second one about a couple of daughters, well, 5th generation Mount Vernonites that I know of, that are interested in filling in the gaps on the digital copies of newspapers from 1850 on, I think. And I got a spreadsheet, 6 pages long, of the few spots that were missing archived. So this is a collaboration with Nathan, who's going to get in touch with his editor in Dubuque from their company. 2 representatives, including the archivist at Cornell, and historic preservation. At some point, we'll weigh in there. I think the last was that I offered to get together a Wednesday noon meeting with all the players. And I think I included Sue in that. I don't know if I went anywhere farther than that, but I just need to set a date for that Wednesday meeting. And a couple of people have gotten back to me to say that that's good. They want to get there. So everybody has little pieces of information, and I even went back to past employees of the Sun, Rich Eskilson, he's got something to weigh in on that. So that was a historic preservation thing, and last item, I guess, was a email from about an hour ago with regard to a property, and it may border into more nuisance than it is historic preservation, but the question was, is it an HPC district on Summit Avenue? And that may be an issue for chief or zoning, yeah, maybe more of a nuisance, so. But we'll keep historic, I'll copy you on that one too. Since we're on historic preservation, I thought I'd throw those three big items out. Be amazed how much mail comes to Mayor Mumford, Iowa. And one of the oddest things.
I still occasionally
Well,
get.
I bet you do. I get 90. J7, discussion consideration to approve the Water's Edge aquatic design proposal. Council action is needed, and I think this is the stopgap. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this is Lauren Osborne with Water's Edge provided a proposal. So the lump sum amount is $10,700 to identify the improvements that would be needed to extend the life of the existing pool for the next 10 years. So that's what this is for. It's for them to come out, do a walkthrough, look at our current facility and the needs. So that's step one. And then they'll give us a write-up of what they feel that we need moving forward. Kind of put the Band-Aid on our pool.
I liked the last two key tasks, prioritize all improvements. and
Right.
Develop costs for identifying.
Right. You saw they snuck that in.
Those are vital.
Yes.
Well, that was gonna be my question. I mean, they were here enough. I have a feeling that she has a list and she could just say, listen, here's what you guys gotta do. And that's one thing. And it's another thing to say, here's the order, if you can only pay for X, here's what you gotta
Right.
do absolutely first, and there's
Yeah.
a lot of costs.
And also, they now know that time frame that we're aiming for 10 years.
Exactly.
That's what they need to shoot.
Before it was the all-in, and now it's
Yes.
okay, but this is what we have to do, so.
Your first steps point, because I did not catch the 10 years, what are we looking for here? This gives them a target,
It does.
and Matt is Parks and Rec, talked about that, thought about this.
They have not, because we received this Friday. I mean, they know that it's coming, they just don't know the details, but yeah.
So at this point, you're sharing it with them, not asking for their input. Okay.
Correct.
With that, I would move approval of the pool improvement study from Water's Edge in the amount of $10,700.
Is there a second from staff? Move the second to move forward with the Water's Edge product design proposal. It's a voice vote, all in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Oh, there we go.
Thank you, Deb. That motion carries.
This is, okay, guys, I'm sitting on space time. It wouldn't let me into Zoom. So I'm sorry, you're not gonna get video of me, but I'm glad you can hear the audio.
Well, thank you.
Well, welcome.
Very,
Glad you made it
yeah,
on
very
Sunday.
odd, sorry.
Thank you very much, Deb. Jenna has no reports, but I did want to ask Matt and Chief to weigh in on consequences, good or bad, from Friday night's first activity at the first football game at the new stadium and so on, with regard to parking at LBC, parking at Stonebrook, driveways, people, how the flow of traffic in and out. So LBC.
LBC was full.
Microphone.
Pardon?
Microphone.
Oh, sorry. LBC was full. No issues with people parking illegally or in wrong areas, but we were full, and so we heard a couple of complaints that people wanted to work out, they couldn't park anywhere, but
Really, on Friday night?
Yeah.
I thought that would have been 5 people there maybe, but,
there were some people from out of town that, don't.
So I think it's important to note, though, that I don't think this is our typical Friday night football experience. It was the first game at the activities center. It was homecoming and the Hall of Fame and
And the little kids mini cheer camp,
Yeah,
and
the mini-
and there was
yes.
a lot
number
of,
3
there was
team.
a whole lot going on. So,
Right. We're gonna evaluate the next two. and
Yeah,
just-
that's
and
the
that'll be a
important
fair evaluation, yeah.
This one.
But as
I
far
think
as-
it's also something to keep in mind though, because we do a fair amount of rentals, and, you know, there aren't always gonna be Friday night football, it's gonna be Saturday, marching band competition, or, you know, so I think it's just something, and I'm sure it's not, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, right?
Yeah.
You know, just something,
Yeah, we're gonna gauge it, you know,
Yeah.
we're gonna see for this first season, I guess we'll call it, or first year, to see how the use of that facility is and how it impacts our parking. I felt there was no need for us to go out and save parking spots for people. We'll continue to do that and take that approach until it gets to a point where we feel like it's something important that we need to look at.
I know there are no wakes that night, but did any parking get into the mortuary parking lot? Did you notice?
Which one?
The mortuary parking lot across the street?
Oh, Stuart Baxter?
Yeah, were there people there?
I don't recall, yeah.
But definitely there were people in the middle school lot and the elementary school lot.
Those were full, I don't know about elementary, I guess that's.
I think Doug might be able to speak to that. You can
there was an
roll.
RV in the middle school parking lot.
Probably a little tailgating going on, as it went through, so.
Full-on RV.
From the police department's perspective on everything went exceptionally well. From where it was at, I walked through Stonebrook, about halftime or a little bit before, just to see where things were at. There was definitely life in Stonebrook, but there was plenty of parking left. There was nothing causing any parking issues or any concerns. I had no doubt a fire truck could have gotten anywhere they needed to in that area from that perspective. Talked to the officers that were there, other than your typical football game issues with kids being kids and tormenting the other side of the field stuff. Everything was great from that perspective. It took the two officers about 10 minutes to dump everybody out of there at the end by having the traffic flow and directing traffic at the intersection of Palisades Road. So,
I was just gonna, I was actually gonna say that because I came through from the high school, they did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Like, they just had it going, and it was
So-
very smooth.
I think the plan that the school and us have worked through and the parking that we put into place, I walked clear up on the 13th up by the condo area, and there was no illegally parked cars anywhere in that area that would have impacted any response from there. In fact, the fire department came in later because they had calls right at the beginning, and so they had plenty of room to get in there. So I thought it went very well, especially with the large crowd. The bleachers were full. You know, that's probably going to be more consistent with a Mount Vernon Stolen game or a Mount Vernon West Delaware game or something like that. Maybe travels a little better than some of the others, but you know, it's going to be a pretty peak crowd, I think, that we were able to gauge that off of. So I was very pleased.
Very cool.
We actually parked on that, I don't know which street it is, it's the one immediately adjacent in Stonebrook. I was actually shocked at how few cars there were. The only thing I noticed was the walkway from your neighborhood
Yeah.
and then back up is dark.
Yep. Yeah.
That's the only thing, you know, and I'm not suggesting a permanent light or anything, but
Yeah.
there may be some sort of temporary thing that can be done for events in the dark. But I really was amazed at how quiet Stonebrook was.
Yeah.
No issues with neighbors, people walking through the yards?
I haven't had a single complaint, so I'll put it that way. I expected a few phone calls today, but honestly, nothing. I think some of the neighbors I saw had ropes up across their yards if they didn't want people walking through them. But we really, and I didn't see anybody come through. I did see a lot of foot traffic right before the game, walking the trails, heading that way. So I think, fortunately for the Mount Vernon side of things, you know, Mount Vernon people were moving. We're cutting down on our traffic so that hopefully the parking lots can be used for visitors and stuff like that too. So I was pleasantly surprised.
The spotlight issue is not going to be an issue anymore?
We'll see. You live next to a college, you're going to have some college experiences that come from that side of it too. So we had a discussion, and hopefully the green laser won't resurface, but we'll see.
And was it at the tennis courts?
What about them?
Was there much of an issue there? Has that been resolved or?
I haven't heard anything on that.
Okay, so, anything else, as far as questions about how that night went? good, and as Paul said, that's probably one of the
Yeah.
biggest, so it'll only get easier after that. Reports, discussion items. Had a couple discussion items from the League of Cities convention I went to last Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but I was gonna bring them up the next time or whatever, for the future meeting. Getting into reports from mayor and council, hopefully everybody saw, and the public saw, and thank you to the Sun for getting an article in the paper about Chris Nosbush named Manager of the Year by the Iowa CMA, and that's a pretty big deal, so make sure we congratulate him, and I want to use this excuse anytime I get a citizen's complaint that's, where somebody's trying to, pull the end run and get the mayor to give him a, no, that's the mayor, the Manager of the Year says this is the way it is.
What do you want
I'm
from
not
me?
gonna tell you that.
I told him I was gonna get him a t-shirt made, he wasn't really excited,
We don't have any choice now.
Yeah.
right?
But hopefully he gets all the recognition that he deserves for that title there. I guess I do need to say that I'm not going to be at the next meeting, but Scott knows about that, and should we squirt right there? Paul, you were saying something?
I just wanted to mention, leaf pickup has started, so thank you. I thought it was going to start, but I wasn't sure, so just let's make sure the public knows that, and please remember, they go not in the street, they stay on the curb in the yard. Staff does a great job, keep your sticks out of there, and walnuts. It's that time of year. I have a feeling we're gonna have an early drop with the dry weather. So.
Yeah.
That's
So
what,
these will go by on Palisade Road today, yeah.
I want to try to keep ahead of the curve on this one, because I think they're all going to come at once this year, so.
That's it.
I know Lori's working on HubSpot. I think we're getting that connection with Nova happening with our website and the
I've got
system.
training tomorrow for that, and then I have clerk school Wednesday through Friday this week, so my door will be shut a lot, because it's all day. Along with what I put on the administrator's report, several engineering firms have reached out to us on the RFP for the streetscape. So hoping for more than, I've heard from at least 7 that have had questions, but
Wow.
not everyone always asks questions, so it doesn't mean that they won't submit, so. Like I said, I'm still hoping for 10 plus, so we'll see how we go. Those are due October 16th.
I didn't want to forget to announce that the Mount Vernon-Lisbon Community Development Group is a finalist for the GAMSA Award for the Great American Main Street.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's
And
great.
so that means that we are one of the top 8. So we will find out as we move forward.
And is this the second?
Yeah, so hey
Yeah.
Steph, we did find out today that we did not make the top 3. So
Oh,
while it is a wonderful, great honor,
Well, we're still top 8.
We are,
Yeah.
exactly.
that's right, we're still top 8, yep, we
Yeah.
found that out today.
But thanks for that update, even though it's a
Well,
little disappointing.
It is, but still
Work
congrats.
Still.
Congrats to the CDG and everybody who put
Yes.
the effort
Yeah.
in that. That's huge.
And I don't know if you guys have seen the list, but Deb, correct me if I'm wrong, but when I looked at it, there were communities quite a bit larger than ours.
Yes, yeah, just like there was, yes. Lansing, Michigan was one, there was a town in Alabama.
Macon, Georgia.
Anyway, yes, they really run the gamut.
Yeah,
Well, I want to say there was like 40 to 45 submissions.
Yes.
So that's amazing that we got to.
Yeah.
Right, there were.
yep, we need to hold our heads high
Yep.
still.
Yep, exactly. So the other thing, kind of from the angle of CDG and working together with community partners, is the presentation on the daycare opportunity for the ARP funding that is going to be held on October 6th. That's in the evening, I believe.
8 a.m., 9:30, 8 to 9:30. That's what I booked at City Hall, so hopefully that's what it is. Yeah.
So it's here?
Yes.
Yep. So again, a pretty substantial opportunity if we can figure out how to make it work, to get some matching funds to promote that within our community and to get people licensed, to get the care that the children need. So it's a big deal too.
Deb, do you know, they had a cutoff date of September 30th for the donations that went through Southeast Lynn. Do you know how that?
Yeah, that is still the date that the Iowa Department of Health and Human Services is holding to. But like every day you wake up and it could change. So I don't, yeah, that's the best day I know.
Okay. Well, it's certainly a cause that we need to keep working toward.
Opportunity for $250,000 here, but if we could match it privately, that's,
Yeah.
yeah. Thanks for that update.
Thank you, Deb.
Thanks, Deb.
Yeah, yep.
Anything else to share at this point? If not, I will call this meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys, sorry for the hassle.
Thanks, Deb.
Can you check those for me? You wanna check those for me?
Mine was 3 minutes based on, I was.
7:09.